Hello, my name is Jen Snowball, and I'm here to tell you about one of the projects associated with this working group, which had to do with the impact of intellectual property in the micro-creative industries, the case of Shweshwe in South Africa. My co-author was a master's student, Aviwe Mapuma. The creative economy in South Africa makes up nearly 2% of GDP and provides employment for nearly 1 million people. Most of these are in small firms, and many are operating in the informal sector. However, as in many developing countries, intellectual property is not all that well protected. This research was about how imported copies of Shweshwe, a fabric of a particular design and cultural meaning, is affecting the micro businesses that sew the fabric for their individual customers. Shweshwe in South Africa has a long history. It started out as blauwdruk, so an indigo fabric, brought across by German immigrants, which is why it's still called ijamini in some communities. It became associated with garments worn at rites of passage in Xhosa and Zulu cultures, such as weddings or christenings. It was first used by Black South Africans in the context of the missionary school, so as part of their Sunday finery. Lieb de Toy says that under apartheid it was seen as resistance to Western hegemony, associated with asserting an African identity. In modern times, the fabric has appeared in Fashion Week shows in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. Shweshwe is produced by Gama Textiles, which was founded in Zwelitsha in the Eastern Cape province in 1945. However, it wasn't until 1960 that the company began to compete with imports from Manchester, but the designs were still produced in the UK. Later on, when the Manchester factory closed, Gama bought the copper cylinders etched with the Shweshwe designs, and they thought the copyright vested in them. Kawi Trading distributes Shweshwe in South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, and Botswana. Distributors are all small mom-and-pop shops, which make up more than 600 small businesses. This is a very deliberate strategy on the part of Kawi Trading, who want to keep the fabric as part of a small enterprise sector in South Africa. Challenge for Shweshwe buyers and producers in recent times is that lower quality copies of similar or even of the same designs have been coming in as imports. The back stamp that says 3 cats that you can see on this slide, as well as the starching, are copied almost exactly. Also, ready-made imported garments in Shweshwe fabric are starting to threaten the livelihoods of the small, medium, and micro enterprises who sew bespoke garments for their customers. So the goal of this research was to determine the size and attributes of businesses in South Africa that are using Shweshwe as an input, so that the impact of the counterfeit Shweshwe imports could be estimated. Our research methods included interviews with producers, that's Kawi Trading and Gama Textiles, with traders, so those were the store managers, and with 62 micro-enterprise owners and Shweshwe buyers in 3 towns, Makhanda, Buffalo City, and Cape Town. Our results showed that the industry is quite big, so it's between 5,000 and 6,000 micro-enterprises that are using Shweshwe as an input into their businesses. Each one of these employs an average of just over 2 people, so we're looking at between 10 and 12,000 jobs. Micro-enterprise owners are almost all women and almost all Black Africans. 28% of them have some after-school education and training. Based on data from the average monthly turnover of each firm, we worked out that the Shweshwe sewing micro-industry is worth about 640 million rand a year. When we asked purchasers if they knew about different brands or makes of the fabric, Almost all of them said yes, and that it was important to them which brands they bought. The way that they determined authenticity was mainly via the back stamp or branding, but also quality and the feel, the stiffness or the starch. Now, the starching was originally done in order to protect the fabric when it was being imported from Europe, but it's still done today as a marker of quality. In conclusion, then, in addition to direct production and sales, Shweshwe is used as an input by more than 5,000 small businesses in South Africa, associated with 10 to 12,000 jobs. While micro-enterprises and the customers recognize and appreciate the difference between genuine Three Cats Shweshwe and other brands, this is done mainly through branding and quality. The imports of the ready-made fake Shweshwe garments, especially those that also copy the back stamp, will thus impact very negatively on these SMMEs and on jobs in the sector.